Have any of you ever looked at something and thought, I could make that look a lot cooler? Well, that's what I do with pretty much everything. And in this video, I'll be turning a regular Nerf knockout into the other one you see on the screen. Everything that I've put onto it is 3D printed, and the files can be found on Thingiverse. Thingiverse is a website where you can find, download, and print for free different 3D files, and you pretty much search for anything you want, and if it's on there, you can print it. Now, my original reasoning for wanting to do this was I have these two pistols that I use for my Red Hood cosplay, and they're just regular plastic toy pistols, and I thought that these would look a lot cooler. So the first step in modifying this is to remove the orange pull handle. Now, after you have unscrewed it, there's these tabs we have to remove. Whoever originally designed this didn't have the tabs on whatever blaster they were using. I don't know if it's an older model or whatever the case is, but either way, we have to remove them. After we've got those all removed and sanded flush, it does have kind of a compression fit to it. However, it is suggested to use a zip tie around the main part of it just to prevent it from breaking. However, I found that it still did break with excessive usage, so I ended up adding a second zip tie in between the two holes that are existing on the pull handle of the blaster and on the 3D print. After we've got that part done, the next step is to remove all of the screws from the shell of the blaster. Now keep in mind when removing these screws that there may be different sized ones depending on what blaster you're taking apart. And a good way to keep them all in order is to take a piece of cardboard, trace out just a rough sketch of whatever the outline of the blaster is, and then poke a hole every time you remove a screw, and then just remove the screw and put it wherever it goes on the picture you drew. After we've got everything unscrewed, the next step is to take out all of the internals of the blaster, including this little tab that allows you to release the barrel of it to load it. And to install one of the mods, we're going to have to cut the ball holder off. Now I could leave this on, however I personally don't like the look of it, so I'm going to be removing it and replacing it with a Picatinny rail. And I'll be removing them with a Dremel tool. This is an optional step as well. I'm going to be removing the ball detent as well as the air restrictor. And what this will do is give your blaster a slightly better performance. After we've got the ball holders removed, the next step is to remove any extra plastic that we didn't get with the Dremel tool. After we've got everything sanded flush, we can test fit this Picatinny rail. Now that we've completed all of that, the next step is to reassemble the plaster. If you're worried about forgetting where parts go, it's a good idea that when you originally take apart the blaster to take a picture of everything. Now, as you can see, I had everything put together, and then I ended up having to take it back apart because I forgot one piece. I went to prime it, and after I primed it, I pulled the trigger and nothing happened. That's because I forgot this metal bar that I'm installing now. Now with everything together, you can see that there's still a hole in the front of the trigger guard. I will be filling that in either with a 3D printed part or whatever I come up with. After you got all the screws tightened back up, it's a good idea to double check everything, just make sure you're not missing any screws. Now that everything's together, we can just slide the front barrel on, and after that, it's pretty much it.